There's, I just want to make this video. It's gonna be very short. I think there's a girl I'm talking to, and she's gonna call me in a little bit, right? But I think I'll ignore her first call and then respond to the second one. Um, this quote by Seneca, where he said, "Save your youthful enthusiasms. You'll be able to use them better when you are older."
Hang on to your youthful enthusiasms. You'll be able to use them better when you are older.
My question is, what did he mean by that? We currently live in a sort of phase where when you get older, you get more dull. Life becomes, you become more like rigid, more annoyed, less full of joy and full of life. And you just become more like when we get older, we become more dead, right? And it kind of sounds logical to think of it that way because you think to yourself, okay, well, when you get older, the idea is that your body deteriorates more than it re what's the word? Can't find the word, doesn't matter. But it recovers at a slower pace as to that which it decays at, if that was proper English. But it decays faster than it, rebuilds itself, so or reconstructs itself. So that's the idea. You're getting older, you're dying, literally. Your cells are regenerating slower, at a slower rate, slower than the cells are dying off. That's what I've been told. That's what I've been told, right? This is what I've been told. This is the idea. Now, in my mind, I think to myself, well, does that have to be the case for everyone and everything? I don't think so. I don't think that has to be the case. I mean, of course, at some point you're going to get old, you're just going to die, right? But does it have to be the case that everything falls apart in terms of you lose your vigor for life, you lose the enthusiasm, you lose your childish nature, you lose your spirit, you lose your joy, and then everything just becomes this monotonous sort of way of being where you wake up and do whatever you do, cool. But it's like you're not actually living your life. You're not fully immersed in the experience. You're not fully engaged. I told my friend this yesterday, and we were talking, and he was like, and I said to him that, the reason people have children is because they need something, because their lives are just so gone, right? They're it's so hopeless and helpless. They're so dull. They're so fixed in the system of just being logical, rational, reasonable, just this intellectually dominated side of the mind, side of being, right? Just existing. They exist in such an intellectually dominated state that they lose touch with the fun and the vibe of life. They lose touch with the spirit. They lose touch with the enthusiasm of life. And as a result, they die on the inside and on the outside slowly until their inevitable death. People die before they die. So the reason we have kids is so that we can reignite that enthusiasm, that feeling of fun and play and all. This is what I said to my friend. I was like, when people will be walking around and this is just them. They're just walk around in this day state where everything is just yeah, yeah, okay, ha, ha, yes, business, this, that, whatever. Or meeting someone, ha 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 ha, laughing like, and it's like everybody has this sort of character they play. But as soon as you put a baby in front of them, they become the soft marshmallow. Oh my gosh, me, doing all these dumb, weird things for the child. Being literally a retard in order to entertain the child and to relax. to let go of that character, to take off that mask. Like imagine walking around with this your entire life. Just this is on your entire life. You finally get to take it off. You finally get to take it off, and you're like, huh. And you play with the child. You play with the child. How it's all fun and games, whatever. And then when other people come, nah, we're serious. Yeah, this is me. This is me. This is me. This is me. And then it's just you and the child. Me. Just being a retard. And it's like that's I in my mind I think that's why we have kids to reconnect us. Sorry, to reconnect us with that that which we truly are. But in a way, we're unable to reconnect with it as well because we do it out of not there's doing it because you understand that this is the way life should be, and doing it because you're trying to escape the mosque, right? A lot of people are trying to escape the mosque, but the idea is that you shouldn't even be trying to escape the mosque. The mosque shouldn't be there in the first place. But since it is there, what you need to do is let go of the mosque, not escape it. It's like you take a vacation from the mosque for a little bit, and then the child grows up, and then you okay back to the mosque, back to the mosque. Because when the child's young, it has no real sense of judgment. So because people won't feel judged for being absolutely retarded and goofy with the child, they'll do it until the child picks up and starts judging. And then they put the mask back on. And they're no longer playful, no longer fun, no longer vibing with their kids. They're just more serious. And this isn't to say that serious is wrong, but it's to say that the overindulgence in seriousness or this this just allowing that mask to exist on your face at all times, all the time, that's wrong. It's just I don't know. But I come back to that quote by Seneca where he said, um, save your youthful enthusiasms. You'll be able to use them better when you are older. To save your youthful enthusiasms, you will be able to use them better when you are older. I don't know. That speaks to me because it seems that a lot of people, if not even a lot of people, the majority of human beings that actually exist on this planet, when they're older, there are no youthful enthusiasms. When they get older, they become as rigid as anything can be. I remember I heard this one thing from Alan Watts that there's a point where he explains this idea that water is the best analogy for, I guess, this sort of thing because nothing eats away at mountains like water, and nothing gives in like water. So if you cut water with a knife, it will give. It won't resist because if ice, you can cut ice with a knife. You can do that. But water gives in and you cut it, but it has no real effect on the water. Sure, a little splash, but you do not wound it. You can damage and wound ice because it's rigid. That's me making an extended analogy, but you can't do that to water. You also use the analogy of bamboos or of leaves, saying when leaves are full of life, they're flexible. You can bend them, you can twist them, you can do all these things with them. Yet when they die, they are rigid and brittle. When they die, they are rigid. So the idea is that death is rigidity and life is flexibility. Life is giving in. Life is, you know, being the idea of being like water. People think it was Bruce Lee who said that. I mean, sure, he did. Say it. He said it. I also said it. Be like water. I said it. Now I'm the guy who said it, right? People think it was made by Bruce Lee, but it wasn't. Um, but that's the idea. The idea is that a lot of people become rigid as they get older, and they become all, you know, this is how things must be. And they think in linear patterns. They don't have the ability to think laterally or in just to go right. Everybody was one track minded. They don't have these multiple fields, this expanded sort of perspective of what reality could be or of what reality actually is. They just have this one, oh, this, and although it can work, I think it doesn't lead to the best life lived. I think if you want to live that life, go for it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But the reality is just that when you live that life, you're you lose the essence of life itself. I remember I used to say this whenever I'd go out cold approaching. I'd ask girls, right? This is one of the lines that I would use. I'd be like, "So, are you still a fun person?" I'd say something along these lines, right? Are you still a fun person, or has the corporate world sucked the life out of you? And I'd say that as a bit of a tease, right? And then sometimes they giggle, sometimes they laugh, sometimes they just like, what do you mean? Right? Not really understand what I'm saying. By the way, it's the 13th of July, 2025. It's 9:42 p.m., 21:42 o'clock. I don't know how to do that. But yeah. So these people be like, what do you mean by that? And sometimes they say that. And I'm like, well, are you still fun and adventurous? Or are you like just boring now? Um, that's the idea, right? The idea is that a lot of people as they get older, and I saw this myself. I saw it in people who were older than me, and I saw it in the teachers that taught me in my schools. And then I also saw it in other human beings just walking around, right? It just seems so uninspired. I always had this idea that I didn't want to grow up because growing up meant I'm no longer allowed to have fun. I, for instance, loved cartoons. I loved cartoons. And then I also loved anime. I loved the just being creative, just being inspired by things, fun, adventure. I swear my friends and I played tag until like grade 11, matric even. I swear we were playing tag in matric. And grade 12, we're 17, 18 years old playing tag. And we're the weird ones, by the way. We were viewed as the weird ones. In school, they tell you, stop running on the corridor. Man, 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 man. They do everything to try to stop you from, playing all this shit. You need to start sitting down at the break area, at the at the tables, and talk amongst your fellow um schoolmates. Get the fuck out of here. What? I'm running and I'm playing. And then we stopped doing that, and we just came up with so many different things to do that was not sitting down and just being boring. We would roll up a paper ball, like after eating some food, the plastic or the piece of paper that all the food was wrapped in, we'd roll it up and just kick that around. We'd play keepy uppies. That's what it's called in English. We have a word for it. But we just keep the paper ball up, and we do that for every single break. We just talk, and we'd have like full-fledged conversations whilst keeping this piece of paper or plastic up, making sure it doesn't touch the ground. And we just, it's like, and then people would walk past, and some teachers would be cool. Some teachers would be like, "Oh, you're not allowed doing that, man, 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 man." And it's just, there is this constant trying to kill off the things that are enjoyable about life, because life is not meant to be enjoyable. You're supposed to be formal, be this, be that, be a robot that literally hates itself and hates the life it lives. You need to be that mask. You need to put the mask on so you can fit inside. This is why the vendetta mask is interesting. The vendetta mask is interesting because the idea is that it does not have a face, right? This is when you put this mask on, we don't know your identity. You're the vendetta. That's the idea, right? Nobody knows your identity. Now imagine an entire fucking school of children who have this mask on. Now imagine an entire country of people who have the mask on. Now imagine an entire planet of human beings who have this mask on. When everybody has the mask on, he who does this and takes it off is a fucking lunatic. He who breaks it and throws it away has lost his mind. He's the one who needs to be stopped. What? So I need to do that again to adjust the brightness before just going on. 1 second. Okay. Whatever. Doesn't even matter, I swear. Um, as long as you hear the message. I'm a little bit sick. But it's funny that this thing, right? That's cool, right? You know, you can almost see it even this way. Ah, ha, ha, ha. The 3D effect. It looks like it's facing you, but it's facing me. But anyway, this thing has become the thing through which we live our lives. And what's horrible about it is that you start to merge with it. It no longer just becomes a mask, it becomes the thing that you are. You stop being you and you become. There's a quote: character is destiny. I forget who said that. I'll put it up. Character is destiny. The character you play will reveal your destiny to you. So if you play the character who is wearing the mask, who is following the system and the structure and being rigid and being formal and all of that stuff, right? Then you'll, whatever that leads to, that's what you'll get. But if you play, if you have fun, as dangerous as that is, funny how playing is dangerous. Very funny how playing is dangerous. But anyway, you play and you have fun. It's crazy. You take off the mask. And it's not to say that every form of play, every form of fun is taking the mask off, but it's to say that it's an act of rebellion against the structure. It's an act of rebellion against the rigidity of life, having fun, playing, whatever it is. Instruments. I love music. I play instruments. I play the piano and the guitar. I don't know. I can't play the guitar for shit. I'm not too bad at the piano. I'm pretty bad, but but I strum and I move my fingers on the keys because it's better than all the other things. It's fun, right? So it's like, yeah. Um, Again, I do want to keep this video short, but that quote by Seneca really Save your youthful enthusiasms. You will be able to use them better when you are older. Your youthful enthusiasms. In my mind, it seems like, I think to a degree, that you shouldn't lose that. That's not how life is supposed to be. Life is supposed to be such that when you get older, you become more vibrant, more sharp, more competent, more capable, more present, more alive. You live your life more, you become more purpose driven. That's the idea in my mind because it just seems that you've had more, if depends on how you've chosen to live your life, but if you've decided to follow a path of self improvement, self development, self help, and philosophy. And it's a quote by Socrates. I'll put it up, but it says ordinary people seem not to realize that those who apply themselves correctly and in the right way to directly and in the right way to philosophy are of their own accord preparing themselves for dying and death. I'll say that again. Ordinary people seem not to realize that those who apply themselves directly and of their own accord, sorry, sorry, I'm just stupid. The ordinary people seem not to realize that those who apply themselves directly and in the right way to philosophy of their own accord are preparing themselves for dying and death. It's something like that. Those words are there. I just the structure. it's, I'm just dumb. Sorry. Um, I'm sorry. But anyway, you prepare yourself for dying. You prepare yourself for death because Marcus Aurelius quotes, "Death smiles at a man. Death smiles at us all, but all the man can do is smile back." But you think about it and you're like, okay, all a man can do is smile back. But what sort of absolutely ridiculously insane courage does it take to smile back at death? To smile at death in the first, to even consider some shit like that, to smile at death. What absolutely outrageous lunatic could do such a thing? What would you have to be thinking in order to be able to do such a thing? How would you have to be living in order to be able to do such a thing? Such as smiling in the face of death? Death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back. Smile? You ask yourself this question, and it's just like it's right in front of you. You prepare yourself, as Socrates said. See, all these things align with the truth. It just aligns, they align with each other, with themselves, even though some of these people did. I mean, some of these people, I mean, yeah, you'll hear a quote from Marcus Aurelius, and it aligns with a quote by Seneca, which aligns with a quote by Epictetus, which aligns with a quote made by Plutarch, which aligns with a quote by Pythagoras, which aligns with, okay, the person to call you now. But yeah, it aligns with quote by Pythagoras and it aligns with quote by this, that, the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. And it's just like, it makes sense. All of these people left this beauty, these notes, these keys, and we've just disregarded them. So again, it's important for you to understand this as a fact, for you to look at it. It's important for you to realize that there is something there. There's something wrong with that way of being when you choose not to. There's something wrong with your way of being when you choose to be rigid. When you no longer have your youthful enthusiasms when you're older. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with you when you regret your life, your choices, when you are scared of death and you're not smiling. There's something wrong with you if you've decided for the character that you are to be dictated by other beings, to wear that mask, to not hold your own identity, but to blend in with the crowd, to lose your identity, to lose yourself. There is absolutely something wrong with that. And that's very important to note. I'll see you in the next one.